Okay, fourth grade, nice to meet you. Thank you for letting me come into your classroom today. My name is Mrs. Brim. So if you need me, that's my name. I'll leave it up there so you know what my name is if you forget it. Today we are going to learn about science. You guys have learned about science before, right?
Yes.
So science isn't a new thing for you. No. How about, can anybody raise their hand and tell me what scientists do? Okay, let's go with Chloe. What do scientists do?
Well, they do a lot of things, but they mostly discover new things and investigate things.
Yes, I love these words. That's fantastic. I'm going to go to somebody else and see if they've got another scientific word for me. I love those words that you use. Tyler? Is that it? No, Travis. Yes, Travis. What? I knew it was a T. Okay, Travis. What do scientists do?
They figure out, they invent new things, they figure out and
Discover new things. Good. Do you have a different word for us?
Right there.
I know.
What do scientists do? They ask questions, they form hypotheses.
Yes. I knew somebody would figure it out.
They test their hypothesis, they record their
Stop right there. What was that last one?
They record their observations.
Everybody put your hands down. This is the point. This is the big point of today's lesson. They record their observations. Okay, now you guys have done that before because you're scientists. You have recorded observations before, right? Okay, so when we observe something, think to yourself, and I'm just going to call on somebody. I want everybody to think to themselves, what does it mean to observe something? Think to yourself for a second, hands down. I'm just going to randomly pick a number from your class numbers. Everybody be thinking in your head, what does it mean to observe? Okay, does everybody kind of have an answer formulated in their head? Okay, let's go with number 3. Who's number 3?
Observing, kind of like if you observe something, it's like you're looking at it, but you're like identifying kind of what its traits are. Like,
that is amazing. That's like perfect. Like that's textbook definition. That was awesome. So you're looking at things. What do we look at things with? What do we look? Everybody can say it. 1, 2, 3. We look with our eyes. Good job. I think we can do that. Okay, using your senses. So one of our senses is looking at something. Now, if we're scientifically observing, we probably don't want to taste most scientific chemicals, things like that. So today's experiment in science lab that you guys are going to be doing, you will not be tasting. But we're going to practice with something that you will, in a minute, be able to taste. Not yet, not until I tell you to. But we're going to practice observing with Skittles. Alright, I think we're there.
There goes
There we go. Okay, I'm going to just give you one right now, okay? Don't touch it. Don't eat it. If you can't eat it, don't worry about it. You don't have to eat it. I'm just going to hand you each one of these. I want everyone to write down 3 things that they are observing about their Skittle. Okay? I want you to show me how awesome you are at science. I want you to observe your Skittle and write 3 things down that you notice about your Skittle. Sure. If you know what a Skittle looks like and you want to start before I give you your Skittle, you can go right ahead. 3 things. 3 things. Everyone? And 3 things that you're observing about your Skittle. Okay. I didn't. Okay, when you're done with your 3, will you just hold your pencil in the air quietly? Just hold your pencil there so I can kind of get an idea for who's done writing. Take your time if you're not done yet. 3 things you can observe about your Skittle. Okay. It looks like most of us are done. If you're still working, you can go ahead and listen to maybe some other suggestions that people have from their observations, and you can use those on your piece of paper if you'd like, okay? So everybody, hands down. I'm going to use our numbers again since I don't have everyone's name 100% memorized. If I call on you, just share one thing with me. Just share one thing you observed about your Skittle. 13. Okay, perfect. We're going to set that one aside for right now. Okay, 19.
It's small.
It's small. How many of you wrote something similar? It's small. Who else wrote that it was small? Right, good. So we looked at its size. Perfect. Okay, number 8. Yes.
Texture is smooth.
It's smooth. Good. I like that. So you looked at its texture. Does anybody have something similar about its texture? Good. Awesome. And let's do one more number. I already did number 3, so we will try 21.
Right behind it, it has an S on it.
It has an S on it. I know I saw that on a few other papers. Good. It has an S on it. So you used your senses, you used your eyes to see what it looked like. Now, if we really wanted to, we could do other things like smell it, but I don't think that's required. And we definitely wouldn't want to taste it in a real science experiment, okay? Now, we're going to set our Skittles aside and just leave them here because I'll come back to that in a little bit and have you test a different part of that. Right now, we're going to move on. The reason I had you observe these Skittles is that Skittles are very similar to something. I'm going to borrow your Skittle real quick. I'll give you a new one. Okay, later. Skittles are very similar to something that we find in nature. Now, I know you guys have been studying. What have you been studying? Have you been studying like rocks and erosion, things like that? Right. So everybody knows what a rock is, right? Okay. But today we're going to learn about those little tiny things that make rocks. And those little things, they're pretty similar to Skittles. They're little things we find in the earth. They are called minerals. Has anybody ever heard of mineral? Or what a mineral is? Good. Awesome. Okay, so today we are learning about minerals. I think some pictures of minerals. They're very colorful. You'll see them in jewelry a lot of times. Okay, so the name of somebody that studies, and you don't need to write this down, but the name of a person, a scientist that studies rocks and minerals. Does somebody have a guess of what that person is called? Okay, let's go with you, sir.
Archaeologist?
No. Kind of close, kind of similar.
Paleontologist?
Not a paleontologist. Let's take one more guess right here in the red shirt.
Geologist?
Geologist. Good job. Okay, a geologist studies the rocks and the minerals of the earth. Great job. So today you guys are going to practice becoming geologists. So after my lesson, you are each going to, in pairs, get your own mineral, and you're going to be able to investigate that mineral to figure out which one it is, just like real geologists do in nature. Okay? So, you're probably wondering, why are we studying minerals? What's so important about minerals? Well, one, they make rocks. Keep going. Every rock is made up of minerals. Okay? Now, minerals aren't made of rocks, but every rock is made of a collection of minerals. All right, so moving on. You need to know what a mineral is if we're studying it, right? Okay, a mineral, it is naturally occurring. That means if I walk outside right now and I dig down in the ground, I can find a mineral because that's where they're found. They're found in nature. They're not man-made. Okay? So I can't make one in a lab. It has to be found out in nature. They're not man-made, and they're found in the earth. Okay? A mineral is also inorganic. That means it's not a living thing. It doesn't walk, it doesn't breathe, it doesn't use the restroom. It was never living. It is just a thing that exists in nature in the earth. And the final thing that you need to know about a mineral, who can tell me the first one we went over? What is a mineral? What was the first thing I said? Yes, let's go right here.
It's a solid.
It's found in nature, right? It's naturally occurring. Okay, what's the second thing? It is, yes, right here.
It's not a gas.
Well, we're going to go over that in a minute. What was the second thing we just went over? It's naturally occurring. Is it living? Is it breathing? No, it's not a living thing. Okay, it's inorganic. That's just a fancy word for not living. And as many of you correctly guessed, it is a solid. So it's not a gas and it's not a liquid. If we find it in the earth, it is always, always, always going to be a solid. Just like your Skittle, you can hold it in your hand. Okay? All right. So today, the 3 mineral properties that we are going to study, and I think if you hit that, it'll just put them all out there. That's okay.
Oh, went away.
See ya, Sponge's jumpy one.
There we go.
Okay. These are 3 words, and don't worry if these words look weird to you, you've never heard them, that's okay. That's the point of today's lesson, is you guys are going to learn what these 3 things are, and you're going to be able to test minerals to find out their luster, their streak, and their hardness. And based on these 3 things, you will know which mineral you have just tested, okay? So the first one is going to be, geologist. Oh, yes. So, like I told you, you're going to pretend to be geologists today, and you are going to look closely, observe, right? Observe physical properties of a mineral. Okay, so luster. And this is where you will need to take a note, so I want you to write the word luster. Just write the word luster, and then I'll tell you what you need to know about that. Yeah, but we're doing minerals.
Focus on this.
That's a good question. Okay, so luster. That is a fancy word for the way that light reflects from a surface of a mineral. So when you test luster today, you are going to get a flashlight, and you are going to get a mineral. And you are going to shine, let me get one that actually is. You're going to get one that you can shine a light on. And you're going to be able to tell, does that reflect? Is it metallic or non-metallic? That's the 2 choices. Is it metallic and shiny, or is it non-metallic? Okay? So everyone's going to do that in your pairs. Your partners. Okay? So you're going to shine a light on whatever mineral you get. It might not be this one. It might be this one that I have in my hand. We have 15 different minerals. And so you're just going to pick them. You're going to see how it reflects. And you're going to mark a box on your worksheet. Does it reflect, or does it not have a metallic reflection?
Do you want me to show the picture?
Yes. Yeah, I forgot. There you go. So I'm pretty sure this is the exact one I'm showing you. So this is an example of a metallic luster. Okay. Can anybody think of...
I didn't get to see.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see how it's...
Actually,
Who else didn't get to see? Did I miss the islands in the middle here?
no, you didn't.
I missed a bunch of you. Talking and walking and flashlighting. It's very difficult work. Oh, I didn't miss
You
it.
didn't miss my
Metallic or not?
Okay, so those are your choices with luster, metallic or non-metallic. So this is an example of one that's not metallic. You look at it.
I haven't seen it.
Rich, you've got to pay attention.
Okay. All right. So that is luster. Did everyone on their paper have luster? And then you should have that it is the reflection of light. Reflection of light. We'll put that definition back up on the board for you. There we go. Pretty much the most important part of this definition is that you need to know it's the way that light reflects. Okay, the way that light reflects off the mineral. Okay. Are we all ready to move on? Do we have that written down? Good. Okay, moving along to our second thing we're going to test. So we have luster and we have hardness. Okay, you need to write this down. Hardness is measured by how easy it is to scratch. And we're talking about the mineral. So we're going to scratch it with various items to see how easily or how hard it is to scratch that mineral. We can, yeah. Just don't worry about these, just worry about the definition. I'll explain the rest and it's on your worksheet for you.
You're not gonna have a diamond.
Sorry.
With a diamond.
It's the only one you're not getting to test with today.
No.
It was a little inaffordable to buy each of you your own diamond.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey,
Okay, do we have that definition written down? Okay, let's write that down before we discuss other parts of the slide. So hardness is measured by how easy a mineral is to scratch. Okay, so as many of you have read ahead, I had a little geologist kit and you are each going to get one of these in your partner groups. You're going to get a little kit consisting of your fingernail that you should already have. If not, you can borrow one of mine. A nail. Everybody will get a nail to test hardness. That's actually for the next part. You will get a penny, a nail, and a fingernail. Now, like I said, I couldn't afford a diamond for everyone, so you'll have to excuse me on that. But we will be testing all of the other minerals with our fingernail, a penny, and a nail. There we go. Here's an example. So this is gypsum. It is soft, so it can be scratched by a fingernail. So if I run my fingernail along it, it's going to scratch very easily. So you know that that's a very soft, you would call that a soft. If it's just easily scratched by a fingernail, that is what we call a soft mineral. And that helps us identify which mineral we're working with. Okay? Calcite is soft, but it's a little harder. So a fingernail doesn't work on it, so we have to scratch it with a penny. Okay? So I would scratch it like this one in my hand. It's not being scratched by, it didn't work with a fingernail, it didn't work with a penny, so we're going to go on to the next thing, which is I'm going to try to scratch it with a nail, and it did scratch with the nail, okay? So that tells us, and I think this is on the next slide maybe, diamonds are the hardest, so if I really wanted to, I could scratch this with my diamond, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah. Okay, so what that tells us is, what did I say this one was actually scratched by?
A nail.
A nail. So we go to where nails are. So this mineral has to be at least a 6.5 or higher. So that means, and this will all be on your worksheet, that means it has to be one of these that's above 6.5 or higher, because it's a hard enough mineral that only a nail would work on it. Okay? And none of the ones that we have today are going to be as hard as a diamond. So you won't have to worry about that one. You won't have to use it. So we won't have any minerals that need a diamond to be scratched. So either your fingernail, a penny, or your nail will work on all these. Did everyone see how I tested that? scratched it. You're gonna start with your fingernail, scratch it, go to a penny, scratch it. If it still doesn't work, we're gonna use the nail final to scratch it, okay? Now, the final and third way that you will test a mineral to try to identify which one it is, you are going to use a piece of porcelain tile. And what you're going to do with this is you're going to mark the mineral against your tile. And the reason that this is so important to do is because a mineral, what color does this look to you? Just kind of a color. Orangey, brownish, right? Okay. A mineral might look like one thing on the outside, but when you actually see what's on the inside of it, it could be completely different color. This one's not. This one ended up being the same color on the inside and the outside. If you want, and only if you can, and you don't have an allergy and you want to, take half of a bite out of your Skittle. Just half, so you can see the inside. Was the inside the same color as the outside?
No.
No. So we cannot always, just like minerals, we cannot go by the color on the outside. It's just like your Skittles. Sometimes it has a different color on the inside. And the way that we're able to find that, we're not going to eat our minerals like Skittles, right? Hopefully not. We're going to drag them across a piece of tile and see what color comes out. Sometimes it is the same, but sometimes it's not. So remember your Skittle, that sometimes they're different on the inside. So we can't use color as a way to identify a mineral. Okay? All right.
Can we eat the rest of it?
Yes, you can. Sorry, I should have let you eat the rest of that. Yes. Yes. So an example of this one would be gold. If you mark it, it's going to be gold. That makes sense, right? Because it's gold. The next one, pyrite. When you run it across tile, it actually comes out. And was there a picture with this one? Yeah, there we go. See how that also has kind of a goldish tint to it, but when you put it across the tile, it actually comes out as dark green. So minerals are super cool in the fact that they do that. So we can't use color as a way to determine what mineral it is. That's very important for you to remember, okay? All right, moving on. Oh, okay. So to test that theory, we are going to, I'm going to show you. These are all the same mineral. And you might not be able to tell because of the smart board. But do you see how some of these are really dark, almost like black, and some are pretty light? Yeah. That's all the same mineral, so you can't go by color. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you with this. So just remember your Skittle, that you can't always go by the color on the outside. Now, I'm going to play a game. I want you to look at these four. I want you to think in your head. Don't share your answers. I'll call on you. I want you to think which one of those is real gold. Which one of those shows real gold? Don't raise your hands. I'll call on somebody. Just think right now. Just look at them. Okay, don't raise your hands. Just look for a second, and then I'll have you guess. Which one of those four is real gold?
Okay, look down and go back to your seat.
Okay, everyone take a seat after you've looked, and then we're going to guess. Okay, how many of you think that this one? Okay, how many of you think this one is real gold? No? How many of you think this dark one down here is real gold? A couple. And how many of you think this one? Wow, surprising a lot. Okay, well now we're going to go to the next slide and you're all going to figure out who had the correct answer. None of them. And this is why we can't trust the color on the outside, because a lot of you thought that some of those were gold because they had gold flecks in them and they were metallic like gold, but they weren't. Okay? All right, so we are going to now get ready for your lab. Let me explain your directions, okay? We're going to work in partners. For this activity, which partner group should we work with?
Mitten.
Mittens. So
Not yet. Listen.
Not yet. We still have 3 more rules to go over. Directions. Okay, so we're going to be working in partners for your lab. We're going to be mitten partners. You're going to pick out 3 minerals. I have them up here. I only want 1 person from your partner group to come to the table and meet me. I'm going to give you 2 minerals. You're going to take them back and start testing them. And when you need a 3rd one, come back up and I'll give you a 3rd one, okay? We are going to use our scientific tools. Everyone is going to get a flashlight, a magnifying glass just to be able to look closer if you need to, a tile to test the what? Okay, what's the fancy? The street, good. And we're gonna get a penny and a nail, okay? So these are the items that we are going to get for your lab. Okay, so I'm gonna pass out your worksheets before we get started. Keep this with your paper and your pencil, you will need it. And I am going to be here the entire time, walking around the room and helping. So just raise your hand if you need help once you get in your partners with testing your minerals. You are not keeping the minerals, but you get to hold them for a short while and work with them, which is pretty cool.
Okay, remember the nails are tools, not weapons.
Yes, please do not.
I've gone to a mineral museum and
You have?
yes.
That's awesome.
And I've actually got to bring back some minerals.
Okay, does everyone have a worksheet?
Sit down.
Okay, let's sit down. We're going to get your supplies together in little geology kits for you, and then we're going to pass those out. Turn on the lights. Turn the lights. Thank you. Okay, remember the 3 things you're going to be testing for. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I think we can only start with the students. Okay, so should we have to just partner up and then yeah.
Partner up and find a place in the room. If your partner's on here, come on Go find a place in You have a partner?
Yes, I will test them out. You're gonna have to search
No.